especially for those of you who really want to be a millionaire and you're not just talking. If you're just talking, then there's a club for that. They look great. They wear all the t-shirts that say that they're a boss and they're doing nothing. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person behind you.
Because I really don't know what I would do if I didn't have some work that I had to get to.
Welcome to another episode of WorkHARDAholics. I don't know why I chose to be that high pitched with that today. I think it's just my general excitement level. All right. So, for those of you who are wondering, what does it mean? It's the movers and the shakers always doing something. If you want to be in balance and get some more green, WorkHARDAholics. For those of you who actually do wonder what exactly is a workaholic, that's what that little ditty is all about. It's a term that I created. So, who is the original workaholic? Me. Moi. Not vous. Pourquoi? Pourquoi? Why? I just told you. I made it up. All right. So welcome. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we like to get together to help you workaholics, you people who are out there doing it well, but possibly stressing yourselves out. Possibly stressing out those who are around you. Possibly wondering, okay, I'm doing so much, but if any small thing happens, all the balls fall to the floor. We're here to help you. We're to help you to be able to live your best life in balance. Give you a few tips and tools to help you be a better workaholic. And to keep it moving, to enjoy, to not have to justify the fact that, hey, on this Saturday, if you're like me, of course I'm coming into the office for a little while. Of course I am. No guest welcome. It's my work time, right? Nothing wrong with it. You don't have to apologize it. You don't have to apologize for it. Welcome home. Bienvenido. You are welcome here. I don't know why I'm feeling like real Spanish today. I was about to say, you're welcome aquí. I don't know why I'm on this whole Spanish thing. Maybe it's time for a trip to someplace that speaks that habla español. Yo no sé. Right now, though, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to let all of these variants and things die down, and then we will hop on planes and trains and automobiles. Until then, we can have this time together virtually. Alrighty then. So who am I? I'm the same person that I was yesterday, the same person that I was 50 years ago. Oh my God, I'm old. All right. I am Shirley Crawford, the Executive Director of the Women's Business Center, RVA, located at 1510 Woodlawn Drive, directly across the street from the Kroger Woodlawn. Small business consultant for over 20 years. I think we're at 25 now, but just in case, we'll just say over 20. Run multiple nonprofits, do all kinds of work, love my community, deeply engaged, deeply involved, blah, 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 blah. Speaker, author, what else do you need to know? Look it up. My bio's online. All right. In the meantime, all you need to know is I'm the person you're listening to right now with information, resources, and a smile for your Wednesday afternoon. All right. So with that in mind, we love to start off with our word for the week. I should mention, because I get asked these random questions. If you're ever trying to reach out to me, you can always do everything at WorkHARDaholic. Okay? Email Shirley at WBCRVA or Shirley at WorkHARDaholics.com. Take your pick. There you go. All my information on the screen if you're watching. If you're listening, once again, I am Googleable. I know I'm not known for making up words, but I feel like that should be a word. Googleable. Right? That makes sense. At this point, Google is more than a noun. It's a verb. Google that. Yes, I'm Googleable. I like it. We're going to keep it. All right. So, yeah, look that up. At this present moment, let's get into the fun. Let's get this party started. Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. We always start off with our word for the week. And so first, I preface that by saying, for those of you who might be your first time, I see a bunch of people popping up on some of these platforms that I haven't seen before. So welcome, glad to have you. But we always start off with the word for the week because here's the deal. I have seen, especially in the past 18 months, so many ridiculous arguments. And I mean, like, I try not to say stupid, but there's really no other word for it. There is no synonym. It's really stupid. Arguments and debates. And then when you're listening to these people, and God forbid you're sucked into these conversations, only to find out that someone was using a word wrong, that you are in agreement with one another, and it's really a lack of communication. Here's the thing, though. I talk about this all the time. In the United States of America, if you are elsewhere, hey, it might not be the same for you. But here in the good old US of A, we have a habit of bastardizing the English language. We take other cultures into our supposed melting pot, and we take every French word, we drop the E and add an S, like l'école. We put an S where you have an E, and then we just drop it some other syllables. And so that's how we make our words. Or we have a regular English word. Like I had a conversation when I was in middle school when I had a transfer professor, a teacher, because that was middle school. A transfer teacher from England who came to my class, and he called me homely. I need you to pause there. So like every American person, especially an African American one, going, "What? He called you what?" I'm like, he called me homely, and he said it with a smile. And so context clues, people. Like whenever you don't know, let's start with the context clues. I was like, okay, he has no reason to be insulting me. So let's assume he means it in a complimentary way. Let's just ask. That would solve so many of our problems, people, if you'd stop assuming. And I won't talk about what it means when you assume, and ask the question. So I asked him. I was just like, what do you mean by that? And he was like, homely. Like, a place of comfort. It's actually attractive. Like they think of there's no place like home. So anything you associate with home is a positive. Who would have guessed? I didn't. And so that's part of the reason why I love that we do a word for the week. It's our way of making sure we're all communicating what we mean to be communicating. We're supposedly using the same language. But a lot of us are using colloquialisms and slang. And then we're making up words. I just told you I'm going to start using Googleable. Like really. We do it all the time. We're very creative as Americans. And so we end up with this creative effort to try to communicate. So with that in mind, we revisit the actual meanings of words. Who would have thunk? And so our word for this week is one that you should know, but do you really know what it means? Let's find out. Our word for this week is appreciation. It seems so simple and straightforward, right? We know that to appreciate is to do just that, to honor the value, the purpose of something or someone, right? That seems really straightforward. But wait, there's more. So here is the deal to that, right? So we talk about appreciation. Okay. But also an appreciation means to increase in value. So most of us here are entrepreneurs, business people. That's what we're all about. We're looking for ways to do better, to work hard, play harder, and business better. And so we know that appreciation. We know that, especially when you're talking about stocks, they generally, hopefully, if you're making good investments, they appreciate in value. All right. So when we talk about appreciation, we're talking about two different things, right? One is to understand the value of a thing, a person, place, or thing, and the other is to increase in value. All right. And so here's the thing that I find kind of amusing. And possibly not all at the same time. All right. I've played the violin since I was 8 years old. I rarely ever play. Like I just took my case out the other day, and so I feel like I'm starting from scratch. I think during the pandemic, my violin and I had no relationship. So now I'm working on a piece that's going to be a little challenging so that I can get my dexterity back. All right. So I have this little clip and I want you all to see it. And for those of you who are online with me social media wise, you can't see it this way, but you can go on to Google it. Go to YouTube, look up Lay Twins, Lestwins. For those of you who watch World of Dance, you've seen them, you saw them win a few years ago. Or if you're a big YouTube person in general, you would have seen them dancing all over the place. They have been backup dancers for Beyonce. They've danced with all kinds of people. They were in Cats, the movie. They're really, really popular. And now they're starting to sing, which is, fine. But dancing is what they are predominantly known for. And so one of the things that I find very interesting as you watch their work, and so Christine, you got that clip for me? Hopefully it'll pop up. It doesn't even last very long, but there is a specific move. So Lay Twins are these actual brothers, Larry and Laurent, as Bougeot. I'm not sure how they say it. It looks a lot like bourgeoisie, but it's spelled a little differently. So Bougeot. Forgive me, I've heard them say it a million times and still don't know. All right, so for those of you who can see, we're going to play that. Oh, it's playing right now. And so Laurent is known to be a dancer of high musicality. Larry tends to be the highly competitive dancer. So he reminds me a lot of standard African-American hip-hop dancers, like very aggressive and like really attacks. And Laurent tends to be more, they talk about his musicality, which means he reminds me of like comparing ballet to hip hop. I think that's actually accurate. And so very lyrical. He's very much into like the secondary line of your music. So when you all listen to music, like there's a bass line, a treble line, there's your melody, there are harmonies, there are intricacy, there's chords. I told you I've been playing music since I was a kid. Of course, we talk in musical terms. And so it's very interesting. So when you watch Laurent, he does this move. So if you just watch the video, he does this move where he's standing upright and then all of a sudden he bends his legs and he's all the way back to the floor and he resounds like that. If you're my age, you remember the blow up doll that you hit and it always bounced back. It always bounced back. That is how he moves. And the thing is, like when you watch it, I've seen so many videos. I am like in this current obsession with Lay Twins. I don't know what happened. Like one day I woke up and I was just obsessed. So like every day for the past, I don't know, maybe 3 months, every day I'm watching like a different Lay Twins video. And sometimes I go back and watch repeats. And like I'm following them like on Instagram and everywhere else. Like I am like really obsessed right now. I'm trying to figure out like, oh my God, how long is this going to last? I'm trying to book a ticket to see where they're going to next have a class. Like I am all in right now. I don't know why. I just am. And so I watch him. I've seen him perform before a variety of audiences, like thousands and thousands of people to small classes. And it's always interesting to me to watch the audience watch him. So there's one song that he dances to and people applaud, but it's like not really all that hype. And he gave like 1,000%. So then his brother proceeds, Larry, at that point goes in and he's lecturing the people like, do you not know what you just saw? And on that note of appreciation, here is the thing. If you don't know the value of something, if you don't know the effort that went in, it means nothing to you. Right? So, and some things that we value are arbitrary. So like when we talk about the value of gold, do you know that there are actually other metals that are worth more technically? But it's a matter of how they are valued, how they are appreciated in our society. That determines how we view things. So I think about Laurent in particular because like he does this move, and if you're not a dancer, or if you've never tried to do the move yourself, he makes it look so effortless. He makes it look like I'm just walking down the street. Like he does it, he bounces back off the ground like Gumby. Like he's constantly like down, up, down, up. And the effort of the amount of work that has to happen with his core, like at this point, my core is basically a marshmallow. We have no, I mean, you know, I have very little good core going on right now, although I'm working on it. So I can look at him and I can say, oh my God, I know exactly how much effort it takes to be able to do that move. Oh my God, how do you even do that? But the thing for him, he goes from one crazy move to another crazy move to another crazy move, and he makes it look so easy that I think for some people it's hard to appreciate. It's hard to appreciate, but I dare any of you, please feel free to send me a video if you try that move where you have to watch it. He comes in, he has his legs, and he does it two different ways. I've seen other people try to do it, and they have their legs like wide open, and he like bends back, and he'll come back, and he's like, you're not doing anything. He closes his leg all the way and will bend all the way down and spring back up again. It's amazing. My respect level for them as dancers is like, oh, crazy amazing. I have an appreciation, but to have that appreciation, you kind of have to have some knowledge and understanding. All right. And then on the other side of that, if you're looking at the screen anyway, I have a picture of my favorite harpist, Shirley V. Green of Harmony of Virginia, who we actually had at our empowerment conference for the reception. Classically trained, she did Peabody. She's been trained everywhere, has all this massive experience. And I compare that with, sometimes I know I shouldn't say names, but I mean, it is what it is. Jeff, what's his name? Jeff, oh my God. He does the song. It's like, the Lord is my shepherd, and he plays the harp behind it. And like, some people think it's the best harp they've ever heard. The dude has like next to no training. He does a very basic, like the same notes over and over and over. And I'm like, this is what you're ranting over? I mean, he has like, I took a year of harp, if that much, and this is what I learned. La 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 la. Aren't I amazing? And I'm like, no, you had to have just known someone. And it sounds fine. The song is lovely. It's not the song. It's just that in comparison to someone who has trained for 20 years and is still taking classes and is teaching others and expanding their craft, it's kind of insulting to compare the two. But you don't have that appreciation if you don't have that knowledge. Once again, I think about in musical terms, right? So once again, I said, I've been playing since I was 8, and I am 51 now. So it's been a long time. But I think about it like when you go to a concert, especially like classical music in particular, and people are playing, people never know. Has anyone else ever noticed that people never know when to clap? They never know when to applaud. And so they're like, is it over? Do we applaud now? Like, what are we doing? And so it's like, it's nice that they have an appreciation, but they don't know. So a lot of times whenever I go to a concert, I make it my business to clap in all the right places. And it's hilarious to me because it'll be quiet and I'll clap, and then everyone around me starts clapping. Or like they'll hear something. Like, I think once again, I was talking about Ms. Green. I went to another event not too long, and she was, oh my gosh, she is so amazing. If you know, for a harp, it seems so effortless, but there are foot pedals and it's a lot happening. And they have blisters on their fingers. I mean, they have a lot going on. I know for me in the violin, I get cricks in my neck. Even now, I still get cricks in my neck and have to, because of just the positioning of how I play. I need my ear closer so I can hear. I do a lot of playing without looking at the music, although I can read music just fine. And so, but I look at like all the effort that has to be applied to be able to play. Oh my God, it's amazing. But for someone who doesn't know, it just sounds like, you auto-tune generation, God bless you. Or you who are used to like even like a beat machine, you're like, oh, I just press a button and it happens. That's not how it works. It makes it difficult for you to fully appreciate what you're listening to, what you're seeing. So if you don't have the background, the knowledge, the information, you may have no appreciation for what it is you're watching. in that vein, when you're talking about other people appreciating you or appreciating your business and what you do, you have to keep in mind that if they have no background, if they have no background knowledge, information, then it's up to you to educate people. Period. So once again, so we talk about business valuation, business appreciation. So oftentimes, if you and most of the time, you don't do evaluation unless you are about to sell or buy. Outside of that, people don't really care. They only want, they think about like what's the value of your business when they're looking to either get stocks, get a share, become a part, or when you're looking to sell it, then it's like, okay, well, what's it worth? You want to go on Shark Tank? They want to know. So what's the valuation for your business? And it all comes to like, how is your business appreciated? What's the value? What's the worth? And there are equations and formulas, but a lot of it is relative. It's relative and based on like, what are you valuing it at? So like for an insurance company, for those of you who are in insurance or looking to come into the insurance industry, there has been a predicted, and now we are in a shortfall of insurance agents. So it's actually a good industry to go into. It's not going anywhere. Insurance will always exist. And so because of which various agencies for the past, 15 years or so have been trying to recruit new agents. And so they're helping you buy in to get your own franchise, to come in and have your own piece of business. But then here comes the question for you. How do you know how to value an insurance agency? Is it based off of the number of policies that you have? Is it based off of how long the business has been in business? And so here's the thing. If you appreciate the wrong thing, your actual valuation will decrease. Okay. How do we make that geek speak sound sensible? Here's the deal. For an insurance company, the actual most important thing is your book of business. What is a book of business, Shirley? Really? I'm glad you asked. A book of business is basically your listing of clients and customers and even potential clients and previous clients. That is the most important thing you bring to the table, to be able to say, I've worked with all these people. And most people, when they get an insurance policy in particular, do not change vendors. So for example, right now I am begging my mother, I am begging her to change her agent, her insurance agent. And it's like a lifelong relationship. So the agent she had before, my mother uses State Farm. They're great company. Nothing bad to say about State Farm. Save your shots. Nothing bad to say about them at all. But the agent that she had since I was a child, who actually insured me when I got my driver's license, did my health insurance when I was growing up, was Mike. Mike. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't think of it. Steve Farmer. It doesn't matter. He's no longer in the insurance, so I can't even refer him to you. But it was Steve something. Mr. Steve is what I call him, which is why I can't think of his last name. What has basically been a part of my family since I was a kid. Like I could literally call and say, hey, I was just in an accident, or hey, this blah blah. Okay, great. And so, but that's how most people operate with their insurance agents. Like once you get in, you're in. Like most people don't want to make the effort to figure out about insurance policies, and most of you should. A lot of you have policies that are not good. So policy payments are more like your insurance policy can actually be an investment tool, that part of the money can be put aside and invested on your behalf, so that at the time of completion of your policy, and completion of your policy can be when you have paid off the face value, because if you're alive long enough, you could actually have invested the total amount of your insurance policy, and at that point you should be receiving interest. But if you're not using it as an investment tool and you're using a short-term policy that's based off and you'll know if you're not paying like 50, 75 or more, you probably have a policy that's just based off of, it's a short-term policy. And forgive me, the name is just not coming to me right now. That's just how many things I have on my mind. When it comes to the policy, and I'm trying to think of the name. Stop trying that. Let's keep going. If you have a policy that's less expensive, then it can have a higher dollar amount. You're paying like $10. You have this kind of policy. Those policies expire. So they come to a point where, and you have to renew. And it's generally, I think, like every 10 years or so. And like they might not have asked you for a health evaluation, and you can't get them when you get to a certain age. You can no longer get those type of policies. And so, but those policies are only good if you die. It's an insurance policy after all, people. Death is involved. Whereas if you're getting the kind that is an investment tool, you can get to the end of the value of the insurance policy, collect it and interest off of it. But you pay a whole lot more to make that happen. And a lot of people have no understanding about their insurance. They just know that if I die, I have a $3 million policy, and that's going to cover these expenses. And they don't know the loopholes with regards to when your insurance policy won't pay you. They don't know. So, okay, that was a sidebar. Back to our previous story that we were on. So when it comes to those relationships with your insurance companies, for most people, it continues on. So with that in mind, when you're looking at valuations, you have to know what is actually valuable about your business, even about you as a person, even about you as an employee. So let's say you're on here with us and you're like, yeah, I'm thinking about a side hustle, but my real focus is advancing in my corporate office. I understand that. I do. I remember fondly beautiful paychecks and amazing benefits. And I do. I work for a Fortune 25. I fully appreciate it. Can't do it anymore, but I fully appreciate it. Even in that, do you know your value, your worth, or what you should be appreciated for? And are you in the right market? So if you think, so I use myself as a former employee. I would say one of my greatest strengths is that I will get the task done, not require supervision. I will get it accomplished and get it accomplished well, but I will do it in my own time. Like if we know the deadline is tomorrow at 12, you'll get it. You might even get it early, but it's not I don't have to take 8 hours to do that task. If it takes the average person 8 hours, let's just say I can cut it in half. I might be able to do it in 4. And so the question I often ask, even to every time I consult with like human resource people and I consult with them, and I'm just like, do you really care about how much time it takes me? Or do you care that I get it done in the time frame that you have requested? And so people love to say, oh no, we don't care about how long it takes. They're lying to you. These are the same people who micromanage you. They're like, what are you doing with this minute? Why are you over there sitting at so-and-so's desk? Why are you talking? Why are you taking a long lunch? What are you working on? Are you on the internet? Why are you on Facebook? Do you care? Are my tasks completed and completed, dare I say, with excellence? So it's an interesting thing because you want to know what you are being appreciated for and what should really be appreciated. And so in that vein, consider it even for yourself. What are you placing a value on? What do you really appreciate? And I'm going to tell you a simple way for you to really know. If you say that you're family oriented, if you say that you are career driven, if you say that, like right now, I have some very specific areas that I'm focusing on, how can anyone else tell? How can you really know if that's true? Your time tells it. Your most valuable commodity is time. How are you using it? And then beyond that, your money tells it. Your time tells it first. So you might say that I'm family oriented and I run a family oriented business and I'm all about family. But when you spend 60 hours a week working and less than a half hour with family, and you're fussing when they want to have dinner together or have date night or have an outing together, you are not family oriented. You're money oriented. And even if your family becomes the beneficiary of said money, it's like that life insurance policy. More than likely, they probably want to do it with you and not just get the benefit when you are dead to the world. Just saying. Okay. On that note, we're going to get ready for a word from our sponsors. I don't know why that ditty in particular comes to mind, But that's what's happening. Also, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, please feel free to drop us a line at, I'll just say Shirley at WorkHARDaholics with an S.com. Ladies, are you looking to move your office from your kitchen table to a space of your own? Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Are you looking for co-working and community? Well, then come join us at the Women's Business Center, RVA, located at 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100, directly across the street from the Kroger at Willow Lawn. Visit us on the web at wbcrva.com or on social media at WBCRVA. When you're ready for more than just office space, come join the WBCRVA family.
Let Socialita help your business stand out from the crowd by building your brand success through social media management. We're located at 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100. Our website is www.socialitarva.com. You can also give us a call at 804-484-2001. Again, Socialita.
Imagine Media Lab, in partnership with the Women's Business Center, offers hourly rental to a multimedia studio. Create or edit digital assets for marketing. Record that podcast you always wanted to start. Voiceovers and live stream. All equipment and software is included in your hourly rental. Located at the Women's Business Center, 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100. ImagineMediaLabs.com. Book your session today.
Of office. All right, and welcome back. Thank you to our sponsors for WorkHARDaholics. Okay. Oh. Alrighty then. I need you all to know. So y'all don't get to see all the way live what's happening in the office, but Christina with a C, did I mention we are here in the Imagine Media Lab, the home of our podcasting show. And Christina, the proprietor of Imagine Media Labs, is our producer. So she's over there working the OBS and doing the screens and doing the things and telling me when the commercials are over and all kinds of stuff. She also makes very interesting comments throughout the show. She all may or may not hear. So you don't know why I'm laughing. It's her. Okay, it's not always her, but sometimes it's her. All right, so on that note, we've been talking about proper valuation. All right, that's what I'm calling it. But our word for this week was appreciation, and appreciation meaning not only to understand the value of a person, place, or thing, but also in meaning that to increase in value. With that in mind, had a short conversation. I say short, but it probably was a long conversation about appreciation and what's necessary to make that happen. I mentioned as a musician, we talked about my favorite dancers in the world right now. Yeah, they are my favorite dancers. That's a big statement for me. I love Patrick Harris, though. He's my favorite choreographer. But my favorite dancer in the world right now are LA Twins. And so talked about like technique, and even I talked about my favorite harpist in the world, Shirley Green, Harmony of Virginia. And how it's hard for people to appreciate and to know when to clap, what to applaud for, what to really appreciate when they don't have the skills themselves, or they've never tried to do it before. And when people make it look easy, it looks easy. Like you think this podcast looks easy. There's a lot happening here, people. But you could do it if you wanted to. Contact Christina at Imagine Media Labs. She can help you. All right, but we all need that help. So in that note of appreciation, and talking about valuation, even in, I did actually emphasize, it was a sidebar, but I'm emphasizing again, check your insurance policy, people. See how it's appreciating, making sure that, because for a lot of your policies, I don't know why I'm stuck on insurance today, but for a lot of your policies, if you're like I am, you're approaching an age where you won't be able to get a new policy. Like there's a reason why they have those. Who are the senior citizen insurance companies? And they all sit around in the diner like, I've got that. Penn, Colonial Penn. They're not paying me to share that, but I'm just saying. There comes a point where you'll only be able to get a plan from AARP or Colonial Penn. or you have to take a health exam. And so it's really important that before you even get to that point, that you make sure you have the right kind of insurance now, rather than having to pay triple or quadruple what you should be paying for your policies. Just saying. Just saying. But on that note of valuation and appreciation and our favorite things, numbers, we're going to share our book it moment for the week. Book 'em, Dano. All right. So our book it moment for this week is how to keep score in business. Okay. And so here's the thing. We live in a society where we are evaluated by numbers. We are. Right? The federal government does not recognize me as Shirley E. I'm not telling them what the E stands for, Crawford. They recognize me as 224 and the rest of my social security number. You don't need that information. All right. And then if you're checking in with your bank, one of my banks, I have an account. So we love Fulton Bank. Hi, Linda and Latanya. Love Fulton Bank. One of my business accounts is with Atlantic Union. I said one of my business accounts is at Atlantic Union. In order for me to check any information on my account, they ask for every possible number you can think of. Address, birth date, social security number, EIN, like the whole nine. So as a business, you're known by your EIN. Like nobody's going, what's the name of your business? WorkHARDAholics. They don't care. What's your EIN? Or if some of you, your TIN. We are known by our numbers. And so when someone is looking to do business with you, I had someone reach out to me yesterday about doing some work for them. I still do contractual work every now and again. Okay, I do it a lot, but not as much as I used to, because we're running a center and doing a bunch of other things in our community. And the first thing they wanted to know was, well, how many people have you done this for? Like we vet by the numbers. Like how much money you're making. Like if you're getting advice from someone on how to be a millionaire, you want to know that they have reached that mark or help somebody get there, right? So on that note, a lot of times when we're talking about your businesses, people are asking you for numbers. They're asking you for your ROI. They're asking you for your P&L. They're asking you for your cash flow projections and your statements and your depreciation. Most people in business have no idea how to figure out depreciation on a piece of equipment. And that's fine. Get your accountant. Just make sure you have somebody who's helping you out. So this book right here, which is it's an old book. I even got little tears from my library, which is where most of these books come from. And it's really there to help non-accountants manage some of the basic information that you need to know, right? Beyond trying to figure out tax cuts and how to get around stuff. When someone's talking to you about something as simple as sunk cost, I opened up. It's actually right there. But I actually do a lot of things based off of like if sunken costs. And most people are like, what? So when I'm talking to clients, I just don't use the words, but I'm still applying the principles. Like when we're talking about valuation and appreciation, when you are pricing your product or service, especially if it's a service, it applies for products as well, but especially in service, people miss the sunk cost. And so you're trying to say, okay, I wrote a book, which I did. I've written a couple, and I'm finishing up another one right now. And so when you're trying to figure out how much to sell the book for, yes, you figure out how much the market is currently paying for it. Like if I wanted a book on, how to keep score in business. Well, who else is selling something similar? This book is currently like $11 on Goodreads. But when it was new, it was probably closer to 30. No, it was actually relatively inexpensive when it first came out a billion years ago. It's now selling for about like $11. Okay, so I can say, the book's out there for $11. Is it worth it to you to sell? How much time did you have to invest in writing? You think about like, what did it take to make it happen? Most people say, the book is 100 and some odd pages, 204 pages. How much did it cost for Amazon to print? That's what most people think about. But there were a lot of other costs involved in that you have to consider. Now, some of them are sunk costs, which you like them by definition. Sorry. Money already spent and gone. I'm just reading it, but it's supposed to be basic, but that's what it means. It will not be recovered no matter what course of action is followed. And if you're comparing your options, like if you're comparing vendor to vendor, there are certain things that you're going to have to pay for no matter what, and you kind of just have to get over it. It's sunk. It's like that boat at the bottom of the ocean. It's not really even worth it to get it. There was no treasure on it. It was just a means of getting there, and it's over. Let it go. So in business terms of let it go, we say sunk cost. Right? So, and so here's the thing. So when you spend a lot of time on sunk cost, you're spending time on stupid stuff. It's stuff that's irrelevant. It doesn't. It's like, in this case, there are certain things we have to have in this facility, right? We're in an office building. We have to have running water. I mean, we could not have it, but oh, what a problem that would be, right? We do have to have a certain level of electricity. We have to have internet. Internet in particular is one of those things like it's just like air. You have to have it. So it's not a matter of going, oh, well, if I don't do internet. No, you have to have it. It's just there. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I mean, really, frozen as much as you want to be. It's gone. It's something that has to happen. So rather than trying to figure out ways to alter what has to be, consider it sunk and move on to the things you can change. I'm thinking about the Serenity Prayer, and I just can't even think of the words, but that's the concept. There you go. Thank you, Christina. You can't hear her, but that's what she said. She said the Serenity Prayer. Once again, Google it. But that's the concept. Okay, so that's with regards to our Book It moment. Thank you again, Robert Follett, for How to Keep Score in Business for Non-Accountants. It's a great way for you to learn terminology and the vocabulary that's used when you're dealing with an accountant and accounting, bookkeepers, etc. One more piece of advice, and then I promise I'm moving on. I'm letting it go. I'm letting that one sink to the floor like lead and moving on in just a moment. As an entrepreneur, no matter what the size of your business, but especially as you're growing, you should be in a place where you shouldn't have to do what you hate. Now, if you hate your whole business model, then you're in the wrong industry, but that's a whole separate issue. But generally speaking, like, I can do accounting. I've taken the classes. I have the understanding. I don't want to. I don't want to keep up with the receipts, scanning and putting stuff in a shoebox. Really what it is that, hey, the shoebox thing is a thing for entrepreneurs. I don't care. They're always like, just shove it in the shoebox and give it to the accountant. And so here is the thing. Like, it is so easy to go to jail over your money and your taxes. It's so easy. So if you think about every mobster, every gangster, they did not go to jail for snuffing out somebody or selling drugs. Most of them went for racketeering or for tax evasion. Like, that's the thing. I always say the IRS is the biggest mobster in the entire world. Talk about a gangster. They will take everything you own if they want to. And then hold you up for years. Even if they're wrong, they could take years to correct it. And your life is just a shambles while you're waiting. Yeah, it's a real thing. So the gangster who takes down all gangsters is the IRS. I don't want to play with the IRS. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to. I'm not a CPA. So CPAs are required to take they have annual testing. They have to stay up on their policies. So it's their specialty. It's like the HR specialists. They make sure that they know, like right now you're trying to figure out in the pandemic, can you fire so-and-so because you think they got COVID? Right? You're trying to figure out all this piece of what's legal and not legal. Like, I don't want to get into the whole HR thing, but you get the point. Like, every industry has rules and regulations. Like, I spend my time making sure I understand the laws relating to running a small business. Trying to keep you all out of jail. Help you grow your businesses and stay out of jail so you can enjoy that business. And so, but when it comes to taxes, that's probably the easiest area for you to go away clink, clink, and cuffs. So I prefer not to be that one. I will manage as a bookkeeper and then send all of my official stuff to the CPA to make sure that everything is up to date and appropriate and approved and legal, so that we can continue operating the Women's Business Center, RVA, located at 1510 Willow Drive, directly across the street from the Kroger Willow, and all the other businesses and nonprofits that I'm a part of. Nonprofits in particular, so many of them lost their certification as nonprofits. It's been a little while now. 2000, was it 2010? I'm forgetting the exact time period. I know where I was at the time it happened. I just can't think of like what exact year it was. And they lost it for silly reasons. But silly reasons can get you caught if you don't know your legislation, if you don't know the rules and regulations. If you don't know, then you don't know, but you don't know can have repercussions. The government does not care about, oh, I didn't know. Sorry for you. Clink, clink. I'm stuck on that sound effect now. All right. But a lot of them lost their certification as a 501c3 because they weren't keeping track of their annual reports, their taxes that weren't up to date. And you have to file. And they make it easy to file. You can file a 990N postcard if you're making less than $50,000 in the year. But documentation is important. So once again, for every area, there is information that's necessary. So for me, I don't want to have to know what the current, so we have a new president, a new administration, which means there are new laws and regulations regarding your taxes, your income, like your investments, etc. I don't want to have to be the one who knows that information. I just don't want to. So as an entrepreneur, I make sure that I budget to take care of that. But with that in mind, even when you are budgeting for someone else to do a job, someone else, you might be using Socialita for your social media. You might be using Imagine Media Lab for your podcasts, your videos, your smart page, whatever items you're working on, and they're handling it. Like us, they're making your beautiful commercials, and they are beautiful. You should still have enough knowledge so that you understand what's the market value, what are you receiving versus what you needed, what are you paying for. You should have enough knowledge to be able to respond in the areas. Christina and I were having a conversation earlier for a member who just got a banner and it was pixelated. And so if you don't know what that means, then you need to make sure you have people around you who can explain, who can help you make sure you're doing the right thing the first time, because like that pixelation means now that really should be ordered again. I'm just saying. I mean, it's okay. But that's the kind of thing that the more you surround yourself with people who have the knowledge, information that you need, the better. But you need to know enough so that you can have the right conversations. And also, as I love to say, and I probably should stop saying it, I said some really interesting phrases that might be offensive. But I have a big thing about being held hostage. So when everyone else knows everything about your business but you, then that means you have to pay whatever they ask for. And it's like that ransomware for the gas line that we had not too long ago, that whichever country it was that had gotten to the software and was holding the gas hostage. That is the kind of stuff that can happen in your business if you let it. Oh, I didn't know about that one. She's talking about a hospital in California. I didn't know about that one. Okay, so we've only got a few more minutes, 10 to be exact, and we're going to wrap it up and say goodbye. I know, it's crazy. But before we do that, I want to talk about our Work Hard, Play Harder moment. All right, so I don't normally read stuff that's on the screen, but for those of you who are actually listening and not seeing, I will be considerate. I'm going to read it out loud, just like we did when we were in elementary school. All right, when someone treats you like you're just one of many options, help them narrow their choice by removing yourself from the equation. Sometimes you have to try not to care, no matter how much you do, because sometimes you can mean almost nothing to someone who means so much to you. It's not pride, it's self-respect. Don't give part-time people a full-time position in your life. Know your value and what you have to offer, and never settle for anything less than what you deserve. And so the whole theme of our Work Hard, Play Harder moment is know your worth. Just that simple. So if you haven't caught the theme throughout the show today, we've been talking about appreciation. Here's the thing that I keep reflecting on. So I gave the example of like Laurent of Les Twins dance move that everyone doesn't appreciate because they don't know how much skill goes into it. I talked about with musicians such as Shirley Green, that harpist that I spoke of, Harmony of Virginia, and how people don't always know how much effort, how many years of training it took to be able to provide you with a 3-minute piece. Do you know how much practice time has to be involved depending on the complexity of a piece? People don't know how to appreciate it because sometimes they don't have a place to appreciate it from. If they don't know about it, then they don't know how to appreciate it. But here is the real problem, and what this in particular is talking about, what I just read. If you don't know your worth, no one else can. It's just that simple. So if you think that your hour is worth, $5.95, then you're excited when someone pays you $7. You're like, oh my God, I'm so amazing. I'm balling. I make no one makes $7 an hour, but does anyone make $7 an hour? Oh, okay. Well, not in the U.S. at present. Wow. My niece always tells me I don't have the right perspective on hourly wages because I've never really made anyway, that's another story. So for example, for me, like someone contracted with me for, I've got a few contracts coming in right now. It's like booming for some reason. And I'm not advertising. I don't know what's happening. It just is. I guess that's all that work and branding that we've been doing that's just popping up. And so I don't debate about price. Like I might discount depending on what it is, but that's a choice. But generally speaking, I don't debate about my prices. I don't debate about what it costs to work with me. As a matter of fact, I am so far, I'll be the first to tell you, I am brilliant. I'm great at what I do. I can do it efficiently. I can do it in a short amount of time, and I can do it well. So some people are like, well, let me pay you by the hour. Nope, because you're paying for the value of what I can accomplish. My hourly rate in general, I don't mind saying, for consulting is $2.50. I didn't say $2.50, $250 an hour, generally speaking, for consultations with me. And I'm worth it. I'm actually worth more. I have people complaining because they're like, Shirley, we're at the same level and you're charging this. You should be charging this because you are deflating the market. I'm just trying to be accessible. And so with that in mind, I don't say, you want to work with me? It's $2.50. No. I'm like, you want to work with me? You should estimate. Generally speaking, if you're going to work with me, you should budget $1,500 to really do a decent project. You should just budget it. And if you can't, then you should find someone else. And that's okay. But I know my value, I know my worth, I know what I bring to the table. I have over 2 decades of experience. I know exactly what I'm worth. Christina is so terrible. Okay, Christina said you should start a GoFundMe account so that you can be able to come work with me. Okay, sorry. That was funny to me. All right, we only have a few more minutes, so I'm going to get to the point. But that's about appreciation. But if you think, oh, I'm not worth it, then why should anyone else think that you're worth it? I mean, that's the thing about appreciation. And people treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. It's such a simple premise, but we seem to miss it. So I'm a very respectful individual. I am not a yeller. I can get very loud, but it's rare. It's like we're at a football game and I'm yelling for a niece or a nephew. Oh, I got lots of volume. But generally in speaking, even when I tell someone off, this is normally the volume I use. Actually, when I'm really angry, my voice gets softer. It's like, okay, listen to what I'm saying to you. Tune in. This is not going to, this is how I talk when I'm angry. Like decibels decrease. Not increase, decrease. But The thing for most people is that you're still trying to figure out your value, your place. And so when you're trying to get someone else to treat you the way that you think you should be treated, you have to understand your value. So I have here, for example, I have here a beautiful, can you all see it? This is my MacBook Pro 2021. It's the cost of a small car. Love her. I know how much it costs. I know the value of it. I know what I had to do time-wise to get it. I am not going to throw it on the ground. I am not going to leave it in random places, although I do get forgetful some days. I will treat it a certain way because I know the value. People show you how they appreciate or value you. Understand that and appreciate that as well and respond accordingly. If it's your business and someone is constantly not willing to pay the bill, if you're a consultant or you're providing a service and people constantly show up tardy, they're not valuing your time. Time is money, especially mine. And so with all that in mind, you have to show people how to appreciate you. So I have a general principle, which is real old school because I for some reason, I have some Victorian mindset in some things. So this is what will happen. Like someone will address me and they don't know me. Either they just saw me speak or they read the book, they saw me on TV doing something or another, and they approach me. And so they're like, Shirley. I'm sorry, do I know you? Like, why are you addressing me on a first name basis? Do we know one another? And like one of my favorite lines is so Victorian. Like, I haven't given you leave to address me by my first name. It's real Victorian. I know it's real old school, but it's my value. I value my brand, my identity, and I'm telling you from the beginning how you'll treat me. On the other side of that, even when I say nothing, most people call me Miss Shirley. Like, period. Like, all the time. It's always like, Miss Shirley. And it doesn't matter if they're older or younger. It's like, Miss Shirley, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes I'm like, you can just call me Shirley. And they're like, okay, Miss Shirley, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I know it's Southern, but it's hilarious to me sometimes. But it's a matter of respect. And so it's something that I have earned. And so people display. How are you letting people treat you, treat your product, treat your service, treat your business? That tells you all you need to know about whether or not they appreciate you, your efforts, and the things that you do. So raise up your standard, stick to it, and make sure that others do as well. And feel free to check them. To hold them accountable. That's how you would say it nicely. Right? Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I have no problem whatsoever pausing something, politely calling one to the side. This is not about embarrassing. This is about making sure we're on the same page and saying. So, for example, we were just doing this conference, the Empower Conference, and one of the people that we're working with, he has a tendency of calling females girls, which bothers me. I can deal with the sweetie. I just have certain levels of things that I can deal with depending on the individual. And I know he doesn't mean it disrespectfully, but my girlhood days are long gone. I mean, they're a wrap. They are never coming back. And especially for you to be younger than me, girls. Yeah, it bothers me. And I know we got the whole Beyonce who run the world girls. Yeah, I'm not a girl. That's not me. And so I politely called him to the side to say, when you are addressing me, at least, I don't do girls. I don't. You can take the time to say everyone's name, or you can say ladies. I will accept it, but I don't do girls. And so, and I have no problem having that conversation. I know my value. I know my worth. I know how I want to be treated. And so that's how I will be treated. Now it's time for you to decide. How do you want to be treated? How do you want your business to be treated? How do you want your brand to be used? Your brand imaging, your brand color, your website, your employees who are walking around with your logo on their shirts. All these things represent you. How do you want to be represented? You need to decide, create the standard, make it clear to everyone, and work from there. All right, this has been another fun-filled episode of WorkHARDAholics. And so, as we always like to say, live better, do better, be better, and happy entrepreneuring. Ta-ta!